Okay, let's move on now to another interesting story now. This time, Benga, it's got to do with just what the Senator has spoken about. Coalition and parties and elections and every single thing.
I mean, the body that conducts all of this is the INEC, the Independent National Electoral Commission, and Nigerians are calling for reforms. A coalition of stakeholders are calling for a complete overhaul of INEC and sweeping electoral reforms ahead of the 2027 general elections. From Lagos to Abuja, the message is clear. Nigeria's democracy is on the brink. A coalition of civil society leaders, legal minds, and political veterans is sounding the alarm. They say the 2023 elections exposed deep flaws in our electoral system, and if we don't act now, 2027 could be worse, and if serious reforms are not put in place. We shall be paying attention to areas such as the trust deficit, the electoral umpire INEC, loopholes in the Independent Electoral Commission Act that needs to be addressed, as well as INEC leadership transition with Professor Mahmood Yakubu's tenure nearing its end. There's also rising suspense on who will lead INEC into the 2027 polls. Join us this morning to unpack this discussion is an expert when it comes to electoral matters in Nigeria. We're joined by the former Country Director of ActionAid, Mrs. Ene Obi. Good morning to you, madam, and thanks for joining us on Breakfast Central.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Now, madam, the 2023 elections were widely criticized. They said INEC promised a lot but under-delivered. Would you say, what's your assessment of INEC today as we inch towards the 2027 elections? Would you say they've learned lessons from the 2023 elections in the by-elections and staggered elections we've conducted since the 2023 elections? Have you noticed any improvements? What's your assessment of INEC as we speak today?
Thank you very much for having me. The 2023 general election had a lot of hopes, because of the way, we mobilized the civil society, the citizens of Nigeria. You remember the continuous voter registration, which was massively, there was a lot of excitement from the younger, population. I remember Tafawa Balewa Square, almost all stadiums the stadia were filled up, in different states across the country, people really wanting to do that. And the reason why they wanted to do that was because the by-elections to the 2023 general election was at a time when, votes started counting because of the technology that was being utilized. The BVAS machines were beginning to count. And I remember when we started from Anambra election down to Osun, Ekiti, before the general election, votes were counting in terms of INEC immediately publishing the results online. And so people were beginning to hope again, trust building, because there were, in the past, the snatching of the ballot boxes, the snatching of ballot boxes and so on, and people were believing again, hoping to see what we see. In Anambra, for example, before 10 p.m. of the day of the voting, the result was online already, and the same with Ekiti, Osun, down. But when it came to the general election, you saw all the failure that came. And I want to let you know, I always will say that INEC, the current INEC, with the way we walked into the 2023 election, they had the capacity. I can tell you that, because I worked very closely with them, and they were very, very open. And so we worked with them with our minds, and then blocking the loopholes for wherever there was any thing that will give INEC trouble, and we walked into them. But 2023 is what you saw, and a lot of disappointment. Many of us had to go through psychosocial support, because we believed in INEC and we trusted the system to bring us better results. What you see is what you have seen, which was really fraudulent and also flawed. That is not to say that the system wasn't ready or whatever, but we have to deal with the quality of the human beings. I think what we need to, when we are looking at today, you say you remember Edo came in, Kogi came in, and you saw a lot of, a fraud again. So when you are looking at the preparedness of INEC, have they learned lessons from 2023 general election? You see that the lessons don't seem to be there, because if you can see something, if you look at Kogi election, for example, that proved that you had about 238 or so thousand people who were eligible voters, and the votes that were declared were more than 400,000. It begins to let you wonder whether INEC is learning or whether they have learned, and so they need to show. I think what we are dealing with here is the machines can do what they can, but the human beings, and we're looking at the issues of patriotism here. What is the patriotic level, of all the individuals that are manning the different environments? I do believe that INEC would have delivered a better result. They qualified to have delivered a better result, and we believed in them, and that's why we trusted and worked with them. When I was in the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, I'm still there as a member of the steering committee of the Nigerian Civil Society Situation Room, but we are so disappointed on the way they have held on so far. Whatever you're talking, and up to today, no real explanation was given for how INEC faltered, because you can't tell us, the senatorial, or is it a senatorial or House of Representatives results were published, and you were not able to publish, the presidential result on time and also publish it, accurately. So, it's a mixed bag. Very disappointing. Nigeria is a great country. We believe that changing, leadership through a peaceful means is what we deserve.
Okay.
It is what we want. But where are we taking ourselves to?
Okay, you've taken us back to how it was and the expectations, but it seems like it was never met. It's what we usually say here in the normal definition. It's what we ordered, what Nigerians ordered versus what Nigerians eventually got. And like the saying goes, everyone is calling for a reform, let's talk about the BVAS and the IREV. These were meant to be fantastic game changers. We've seen it happen in other climes. We've seen it also happen in Ghana, where technology was indeed deployed, and it actually gave very critical results that has led to what Ghana simply is today. Do you think that using the BVAS and the IREV seems to be one of the major challenges INEC is having, hence why there's a call for them to go to what we know before, what we're used to, which is the physical counting, writing, using the ballot? Or do you think that there is just a clear intention to ensure that these technologies do not work here in Nigeria?
I think we're talking about the human beings that are working with the technology. Technology can work. If it worked in the by-elections, it could as well work, in the general election. Did they mean it to work? Was it meant to work? Or do we have, I think the political class also is heavy on INEC. The political class is like he who pays the piper dictates his tune. What is the leverage in terms of the independence of INEC itself? Because when I was looking at the chairman that day, I was looking at him, and it looked like when he was pronouncing or declaring the election 2023, I looked at him as if I didn't know him anymore. And I was telling myself, I said, anybody who has overwhelmed the chairman is a real criminal. I know that it takes two to tango, but whoever overwhelmed him to let him do the wrong thing, or even the electoral, resident electoral commissioners in the different states of the federation, the political class, the God of Nigeria is watching everybody. And I'm saying this because when you are overwhelmed, what do? But you can choose to do the right thing or to do the wrong thing. Or what really happened to the kind of the man that I knew. This is in the person of the chairman himself. We knew that he was overwhelmed all along. But again, do we declare for Nigeria? How do we stand upright for Nigeria? How do we stand up and declare for Nigeria that we stand as Nigerians, because the soul of Nigeria is wounded? And he possessed the kind of, he's a very intelligent person. I worked with him, we as a team, we worked with him very, very closely. He's very, very intelligent. He has intelligent team around him. But who is it? What did we do wrong that you have to do what you did? Whoever did to him also is a criminal that we have. Whoever overwhelmed him, because we need to let ourselves tell the truth. The BVAS machine is an excellent machine. You need to compare as well. If you look at the Ghanaian example, Ghana, you had so many political parties. The agents at the polling unit decided to work and stand upright for Ghana. Whether you are an agent of a particular party or agent of the other, unlike Nigeria, where at a point you find out that all the agents who swept to work, they upheld the truth in the last election for those who went to monitor the election. When you go to Germany, for example, I'm just trying to compare whether you use machine or you use the paper itself. It depends on how you believe in your country and how you are standing up for the country. In Germany, for example, they don't use machines. And one of my professors who went and had contact with the Germans, he told us, he said he talked to the electoral commissioner, for example, and the electoral commissioner, whoever the chairman, who is the like of INEC chairman here, when he told him, he's even a member of a political party in the land. And he's the one that is declaring, is declaring the result. So the question to him was, how can you be a member of a political party and then you are the one who is declaring election nationally? No, the guy didn't understand the question, but when he got to understand, he first said, it's about professionalism. That's a profession. He's a member of a political party. As a German, he will do whatever he needs to do. But when it comes to being doing his professional work, he says it's totally professional. And then they also asked the chairman, how come, you use, even at this time, when Germany is technologically very advanced, how come you're still using, paper? He said, Germans trust Germans more.
Okay, we seem to have frozen network there.
But I could help her complete that statement.
Very key
point.
point.
To say, Germans trust Germans more than technology.
Yeah,
I guess that was.
And there's this statement that has been permeated, especially with what she also said. It's not the technology; it's the people who man the technology.
And she also made reference to electoral agents in Ghana. If you remember, we had this conversation with Mr. Katuba. He said, look, it's not the technology, it's the people, the integrity of the people. Because he mentioned that you see a situation where agents of a particular party would be financially induced by another party and they sabotage all the hard work of the candidates of their own party just to be bribed and to doctor results for another party. So we need to do better. As a people, and we also need to really take a look at the human factor in everything we do. You could deploy all the technology in the world, it's still human beings that would operate these technologies.
I'm hoping that we can have a reconnection with her again and maybe look at, what sort of qualities. All right, you're welcome back, ma'am. Can you hear
Thank
us?
you very much.
Okay.
Okay.
I want us to take,
Yes, I can hear you.
You were speaking about, maybe land on the thought, you were talking about Germans, trusting Germans.
Yes, I was speaking about that because they said the Germans trust Germans more than the machine. What that means is that the machine can be hacked and so on and so forth, but they believe that, they believe in each other. And that's the way to go forward. Do we believe in ourselves? The content, the quality, the kind of integrity that Nigerians have today. Do we believe in Nigeria? And do we believe in Nigerians? Because your solidarity should be first as a patriotic Nigerian. You pledge to your country, Nigeria, to be faithful, loyal, and honest. Are you faithful, loyal, and honest? And this is the bedrock of everything. Can we just hold on to Nigeria? anywhere you are as journalists, you are doing your work, bringing to Nigerians the information they need to. You work so hard. Can every Nigerian in their own positions hold on to what they are doing and make sure that we have it? So with the reforms that we're talking about, we fought seriously, for the electoral reforms, the Electoral Act in 2022, before it was approved. We were on the street. It was the 7th time before it was given. It was eventually signed into law. And today we have it, but having law is not enough. The people to implement the law is what is very, very important. And so the reforms that we are talking about, the independency, the patriotism level, Nigerians there is need to have change of heart. There is no kind of reforms that you can do without the human beings that are implementing effectively, and believing in Nigeria is one of the best things that can happen to us. But the political class, we do have a challenge. Citizens of Nigeria, they're even going into docility. Nobody is holding people into account. Sanctions are not meted. We are not even accounted for. Why did you behave the way you did? If you say it's technology you want to implement, you can't do that if you believe in yourself and if you believe in the people that are operating it as well. So whether you are in the military, wherever you are, you need to remain as a Nigerian.
Okay, just finally, final question from my end. What would be the top three things you think needs to be amended in the electoral reform? What would be an electoral reform amendment in quotes for you? Top three.
I think one of the things that was used, I think, is one of the things that we're talking about is there was a loophole. And I think when the president was going to sign into law, I was sitting down with a lawyer who looked at the contentious, I think 8412, that we talked about, whether it is BVAS or whatever machine that you want to be able to use, you have to be able to put it. If it's electronics, you want to go in the hallway. We can transmission should be electronical, because INEC was able to use their own rules to declare the elections, and that is that a section, I think, is INEC's guideline. They are either 20A or according to the INEC guideline, 20A or section 18 talked about that INEC has a right to choose which way to declare, and that is not right. You can't give a law and then you give a guideline that then supersedes what you are talking about. But for me, I think the people, the independence of INEC, not just independence, but the patriotism level is what needs to change. In terms of the rule, we have to say you can vote electronically. If you can go and press your hand, you can equally vote electronically and let it be transmitted. If we want to go electronic, and I thought we were doing very well, and we were actually doing very well because people can see the results very clearly. INEC was tightening the resolve in terms of stopping the looting, or is it the way they brutalize the results? And I know that they will come for them, but electronic voting, I think, should be encouraged. And a single day voting, where they want to amend, we should be looking at every election to be held in a single day. Because if you can have 3 papers, you can also have 5 papers, and then conduct the election in a single day, so that there is no room for manipulation and all of that. And everybody needs to know, for the civil society, when we talk of the elections, we are not talking about, we are not the ones there. We are happy that people want to contest, but contest, the person who will occupy is a fellow Nigerian. In every state, they are fellow, statesmanship, or male and female to contest. So people need to go and contest. There will be a winner or a loser. These are your citizens still. So we should not bring in the competition. Are we in this world forever? You live and let live. And then you move on as well. You encourage others. Some of us who are not in politics, we encourage those who are in politics. But let the right thing be done. Let people be accountable for their behavior or anything they do.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mrs. Ene Obi, for speaking with us We look forward to maybe there will be another reform, and hopefully it will be done before the elections come around. Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me.